everybody, we're here again. I've got a new recipe for you. I'm really excited about this one. I went back to the store today and I finally found a steak, an actual real steak. I haven't seen one of these in like 2 weeks. I was looking for a ribeye again. I really want to make you guys a video of how I cook my ribeye. But here we have a nice big Porterhouse steak. I love this one too. And it's like two steaks in one. You've got your New York strip on one side, you've got your filet on the other side. So here, I'm going to show you exactly how I cook it. Okay, here we have our Porterhouse steak. I've got it out on the cutting board and I have all of the ingredients that I'm gonna be using to make this awesome steak today. Now, one of my first tips that I like to say, because the way I cook a steak, I cook it in a cast iron pan. That is my favorite way to cook a steak. Nothing wrong with a grill. The grill is a very close second. But in this instance, we're gonna be using a nice hot cast iron pan. But first, I want a good sear. You want a good sear because it's crispy, it's crusty, and then you got a nice medium rare steak inside. So first thing I like to do is take a little paper towel, make sure everything is dry. You want the meat to be as dry as possible. That is really gonna help it stick to that pan when you get it in there and get a nice sear. And if you look at my ingredients, I've got some kosher salt, I've got some black pepper, and I have some fresh thyme. This actually came from my garden. I planted this last year and it came back. So I've got like this big honking bush of thyme. Yay! And I also have some rosemary. So we're gonna use some fresh rosemary and thyme, salt, pepper, and then if you notice we have the butter. You gotta have the butter. So I'm gonna show you exactly how I do it coming up next. Okay, here I am. I've got some butter in the pan. I got it melted down. It's nice and hot. You see it smoking a little bit. That's exactly what I want because to get that really good hard sear, you want a nice hot cast iron pan. So we're gonna come over here to the Porterhouse steak. I'm gonna give it a liberal sprinkling of kosher salt. Beef can take the salt, everybody. Don't be afraid of it. We're gonna come on with some black pepper. And then from here, we are going straight into the pan. Listen to that. And what I like to do, I like to push this down, make sure that this sticks. Now you can even take kind of a nice heavy pot, something heavy, and set on top of that. Make sure it's got a sanitary bottom. But in this case, I am just making sure this is really gonna get a nice hard sear on the pan. And while it's sitting there, I'm gonna go ahead and salt and pepper the other side. Don't be afraid of the salt with beef, guys. We got some black pepper. That is all a good steak needs, in my opinion. Salt and pepper. Now we're just gonna let this cook, get a nice hard sear, and then we'll flip it here very shortly. Okay, we've had a few minutes go by, I think roughly maybe 5 minutes. We've got a nice hard sear going on this. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of going by smell. I make sure I press this steak really hard down on the pan. And now I'm just kind of waiting until I smell, you just that kind of, it's not burning, but you know that's hot on the underneath side. So what we're gonna do is take our steak, moment of truth. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That is good. That is what I want. That is a nice hard sear. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. And here's where the magic starts to happen. We're just gonna start dropping some butter. Let's do another one, why not? In this nice hot pan. This is all gonna melt. Now once this is all melted, we're gonna bathe this steak with some fresh herbs on top of it in this melted butter, and we're gonna create our dipping sauce is what I like to use. I like to use the brown butter when we're all done. It's gonna be infused with some thyme and some rosemary, and it's excellent when you dip your steak in it. It's so good. So here we go. This is looking good. So your herbs go right on top. So here we go. This is the best part. We're gonna take this butter that's melted and we just start bathing this steak in butter right over the top of that thyme and rosemary. That's looking so good. And what that's going to do is that rosemary is really going to infuse in this butter. And if we watch our temperature right, if we don't burn this butter and the bits underneath, we can use some of this brown butter as a dipping sauce. It's like butter upon butter upon butter. It's so good. If you look at that, that looks so good. Set that there. Now this, I can already feel this is pretty much done. Now I'm shooting for medium rare. This steak was on the thinner side compared to what I like to use, so this one might end up going a little closer to medium. I'm okay with that because a porterhouse steak is a good cut of meat no matter what. But usually I'm looking for a steak that's close to 2 inches if I'm cooking this method, but this was all they had. So I'm just showing you what I would do if this is the only steak I could find at the store. This is how I'm gonna cook it. We're gonna do a little bit more butter on here. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That is so good. So good. Can't wait. Okay. We're going to take this off here in just a second, and I'm going to let it rest, and we'll come back whenever we're ready to cut into it. Moment of truth. We're going to cut into this steak. I let it rest for about 5 minutes. It looks really good. Emery, my little man is here. He's going to help me out. Let's cut into the fillet part of this. Let's give you a nice little slice of this here. Dip it in the butter. This is our brown butter that's infused with thyme, fresh thyme and rosemary. Set that right there for you. Give that a try. Let me know what you think. I'm going to come over here to the strip side. I'm going to cut into this. That looks so good. We got a nice medium rare going on. I'm going to dip it in the thyme and rosemary infused butter. Is that good? All right.
It's good. It's really good.
Oh yeah, that's good. That crust.
Mixed with the butter.
Oh, the crust and I'm not acting, folks. That's good. That's a good steak. And this is honestly, I like my steaks to be thicker than this. But I mean, we did not overcook this thing. We got a nice kind of medium rare going on. You know, maybe push a medium, but I'm fine with that. It's a good steak. It's a good cut of meat. And oh, I gotta take another bite. Oh man, Emery, here. Let me get you another bite here. There you go. Dip it in that. Oh, and honestly, the key, it's the herbs, the butter, just the way when you're bathing that steak, and the way that butter just gets infused with the flavor of the thyme and the rosemary. It's awesome. Try it out, guys. I cook simple food. This is not complicated. Anybody can do it. I'm not a professional chef. I'm not a professional cook. I just want to show you guys how I would cook something when I go to the store looking for a big ribeye steak. I find a nice big porterhouse. It's not as thick as I wanted, but I used a nice hot cast iron pan to put a nice sear on this, some brown butter, some fresh rosemary and thyme, and salt and pepper. That's it. It's so awesome and it's so easy. Stay safe out there, everybody, and we'll see you next time.